Hey everyone, welcome back to Tam's Top 10 channel. In today's video it's going to be a little different. Majority of my videos I've made so far have been me discussing movies that I love, but in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Video games have been a big part of my life ever since I was younger. My brother and I would always go over to my uncle's house and play his original PlayStation 1. We would play that thing non-stop, and ever since then I've basically been playing games all my life. So I just want to share with you guys some of my favorite video games of all time. Now, before we get into the actual top 10 list, I do have a few honorable mentions. My honorable mentions include Borderlands 2, love that game, one of my favorite shooters, RPGs of all time. Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man on PS4, probably one of the best superhero games of all time. NFL Street 2 on the original on PlayStation 2. My brother and I would play that game non-stop. Awesome soundtrack, and I really hope they remake or do another NFL Street game sometime soon because those games were awesome. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That's my favorite Call of Duty game. I play Modern Warfare 2 non-stop. Awesome campaign, awesome multiplayer, and the Spec Ops mode is also pretty cool. And my last honorable mention is going to be Red Dead Redemption 2. I played Red Dead Revolver, the first game. Not a lot of people have heard that one. That is the first Red Dead game on PlayStation 2. That game is awesome. Red Dead Redemption, wasn't the biggest fan of it. The story kind of dragged for me a bit. I love the open world and everything, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is so emotional. It's basically like The Godfather Part 2 of video games. It's so epic, so immersive, and awesome characters as well. Alright, so coming in at number 10 is going to be Gears of War, the series. Specifically 1 through 3, which I owned on Xbox 360. I own 4 and 5 on Xbox One. Haven't really played them that much though. I don't know, I feel like 3 was a perfect end to the series. But the first 3 games, my brother and I would play, especially number 2, the Horde mode, all the damn time. That game was so influential on Call of Duty, like Zombies mode. Basically any horde where you're just fighting waves and waves of enemies, Gears of War 2 has a lot of influence on that. But just the story as well, the gameplay, just so much fun, a lot of badass characters, basically just a badass game. Yeah, Gears of War, number 10. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Grand Theft Auto, but I picked 3 of them. A little bit of a cheat. I picked GTA 5, San Andreas, and mine and my brother's first video game that we ever owned, GTA Vice City. My dad bought this with our PS2 when I was in 2nd grade. So yeah, I was in 2nd grade playing GTA Vice City while everyone else was probably playing, I don't know, Sesame Street or something. These games were so influential in my brother and I. Just the open world, just being able to do whatever the hell you want. I still think Vice City, like if they would remake this, give it a nice HD remake, that'd be awesome. Amazing soundtracks in all these games. Just so much fun, so replayable. Yeah, and I can't wait for GTA 6. If they did like a Vice City GTA 6, that'd be awesome. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Fallout 3. This probably is one of like the top 5 games I spend the most time on in my life. This game is just so damn immersive. There's so much to do in this game. I know a lot of people prefer Skyrim. I just like the sci-fi apocalyptic world of Fallout 3 better. I wasn't the biggest fan of all the magic and stuff in Skyrim. I still like Skyrim, but Fallout 3 just, what a blast of a game. The Game of the Year edition is so fun. You get like 5 DLC missions and stuff, so that's awesome. But just an awesome world where you're basically in Washington, D.C., where it's all destroyed, but you can go visit like national monuments like the White House and the Washington Monument and stuff. It's a really cool game. Another game that if they did a remaster of or something would be amazing. I wasn't the biggest fan of Fallout 4. Fallout 3, one of my favorites. Coming in at number 7 is the game I've probably beaten the most times in my life, Resident Evil 4. This was one of the games that my brother and I would go over to my uncle's house, and I remember we were like really young, and it was like midnight, and my uncle started playing this game, and it scared the shit out of my brother and I, but we were also like, this is so cool, this is so scary, but we're intrigued. And just the over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. I think this is the one that revolutionized that, kind of started it out. But it's a game that holds up. I think this came out in like 2004, 2005. This game still holds up. Just started playing it again like last week, and I think we're getting a remake of this as well. I don't really know if we need a remake because this game is still amazing. But yeah, just an awesome. The story's not that great, but the gameplay it's amazing. Coming in at number 6 is going to be the Uncharted series. Specifically, I adore 1 through 4. Lost Legacy was pretty good. Nice little short side mission kind of game. But Uncharted series is the reason I bought a PS3 originally. I actually played Uncharted 2. I think that was the first. Oh no, that wasn't. Yeah, that was the first PS2 game I played, or PS3 game I played. And the graphics and the story and the characters, the gameplay in that, in Uncharted 2 specifically, still hold up to this date. I really like Uncharted 1, but 2 is just like elevated everything. Uncharted 3 also amazing. I think if Uncharted 3 came out before Uncharted 2, everyone would still be talking about Uncharted 3. But Uncharted 4, I'm saying Uncharted a lot. I'm sorry. Uncharted 4 is so close tied to number 2 as my favorite in the series. They're all amazing games. Just Naughty Dog knows how to make amazing games. You're going to see another series that they made up higher. But, excuse me, Uncharted just basically is like if you took a movie and put it in a video game format, and it's amazing. It still holds up. Characters, dialogue, direction, just the scope of some of the action sequences alone. It's like Michael Bay if he was, not as bad. But it's amazing. Uncharted, if you have not played it, please play it. It's just so enjoyable. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Super Mario Odyssey. I've always been a big fan of the Mario games, but I didn't really ever play that many. Like Mario 64, I played like a little bit of at my buddy's house. Super Mario Odyssey is the definition of a smile on your face. This game is just so damn fun to play. If you're in a bad mood, play Super Mario Odyssey. Actually, there are some parts that are a little difficult, so maybe not. But anyways, another reason why this is my favorite Mario game of all time is that it takes all the new stuff from newer Mario games, but it also takes all the old stuff from Mario games and just combines it to a perfect game. I love all the retro parts where you get to play as the 8-bit Mario, I think, from like the original Super Mario Brothers. Those parts are so amazing, but they also just flawlessly weave their way into levels. Like they don't just stand out and it's like, oh, why is this part in here? They just blend in perfectly. This game is just so colorful. It's just so fun. This is the definition of fun. This is my favorite Mario game of all time. Like I said, I haven't played that many. But I really hope we get a sequel to this. And just how all the worlds are so awesome. How you can throw your cap at all your enemies and basically become them. That's such a cool mechanic in this game. The only thing for this game that kind of bugged me were the boss battles. There's specifically these rabbits or the bunnies that that are kind of the big bosses in the game besides Bowser. Wasn't the biggest fan of them. I kind of wish there was a bit more variety of boss battles in this game. Other than that, this game is perfect. I love it. Just the satisfaction of going around and finding the moons in each land. It just gives you such a sensation. But Super Mario Odyssey, yeah, favorite Mario game of all time. Coming in at number 4 is going to be the Halo series, basically, specifically Halo 1 through 3 and Halo Reach. I wasn't the biggest fan of Halo 4. 5 I didn't even finish, and yeah, we're just going to focus on Halo 1 through 3 and Halo Reach. Halo 3 might be the game I played the most in my life. My brother and I beat that campaign so many damn times on Legendary difficulty, but the multiplayer, me and my brother, my friends, my cousins, we all have this thing called Halo parties where we get as many Xboxes as we can, as many TVs as we can, and we all just play Halo 3 multiplayer for hours on end. It is the most fun I've had playing video games probably ever. It's just awesome. Even the guys that aren't that great, they always have a blast. But Halo, just one of the games that kind of influenced my brother and I's love for video games. When we got our first Xbox, the original Halo came with it, and we just played the shit out of that game. Halo 2, when we got that, we were like, oh my god, you can dual wield energy swords, amazing. And then Halo 3 is our personal favorite just because we played it the most, and the campaign is just amazing. But Halo, amazing campaign, amazing multiplayer. Halo is just the best. Coming in at number 3 is going to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is basically the only Zelda game I ever played. I played Ocarina of Time maybe 20, 30 minutes. Other than that, I've never played a Zelda game in my life. And for a Legend of Zelda game to be number 3 on my favorite games of all time, you know this game has got to be pretty amazing. And it is. Holy shit, this game is awesome. I've spent so much time in this game exploring Hyrule. It's so damn fun. Just the combat, going around exploring, using all your powers and everything just to explore the land, doing side missions, the main quest. It's just, this game is just so fun. If I was on an island by myself and I could have any video game to keep me occupied for on that island, I'd probably pick Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game is so massive. And I'm so excited for Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever the hell they're going to call it. But yeah, I actually waited to buy this game when I got my Switch. I bought Super Mario Odyssey first because I knew I wanted to play that. I wanted to beat that. So I waited to buy Breath of the Wild because I knew I would get so immersed in this game and this game would just take all my attention. So I waited to buy this until I got done beating Super Mario Odyssey. And then I picked this up, and yeah, that was a good decision because this game just took me over. Breath of the Wild, this is basically the reason to buy a Switch. If you don't have a Switch, buy one and get Breath of the Wild and say goodbye to basically all your time because it's all going to be spent in Hyrule. Coming in at number 2 for my favorite games of all time are going to be The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. Now, I know I did a Last of Us 1 review before Part 2 came out, and then in that video I said that Last of Us was my favorite game of all time. The only thing, number 1 in this list has taken over just because the gameplay in The Last of Us is just not as good as it is in my number 1 franchise or game. But the story in both The Last of Us 1 and 2, I love Last of Us Part 2. It's, I know, a very divisive game. A lot of people hate that game. I can understand why. Spoilers, if you hated the fact that Abby kills Joel and then you spend the last half of that game basically playing as Abby, I can see why people are frustrated. For me, it worked. I just liked the way that Naughty Dog told the story. I liked how you begin to see Abby's side of the story. It sucks that Joel died. I love Joel as a character, but he wasn't a great guy. He did shitty things in the first game, and yeah, it just added stakes. It made the game feel like anyone could die at any moment, and people did die at any moment in Last of Us Part 2. But Last of Us Part, I kind of compare these games to The Godfather 1 and 2. Last of Us Part 1, I would compare to Godfather Part 1. I'd rather watch that one. But Part 2, I think, is better, like story, like epic, more epic, better character development, kind of. I don't know. It's so hard. They're both amazing. I don't know. Last of Us 2, Part 1 and Part 2, coming in at number 2. So what could have dethroned the Last of Us franchise as my favorite video games of all time? Well, the God of War franchise. God of War has been so influential on my love for video games, whether it's the story, the gameplay, just how badass these games are, how fun they are. Video games should be fun to play. And while I love Last of Us, I've only played Last of Us Part 2 once because it's just such a downer of a game. Whereas God of War, these games are just fun to play for me. I love the story. I love the Greek mythology. Kratos, what a badass. Especially, well, first of all, let's just go through the franchise. God of War 1 and 2, super influential on my brother and I. We used to play these all the time when we were younger on our PS2. Just great stories that hold up and gameplay as well. God of War 3 was one of the reasons I bought a PS3. I actually think when I bought my first PS3, this came with it, or this was the first game I bought. And I played the shit out of this. The story in this game is amazing. This game probably has some of the best boss battles in any video game I've ever played. Basically, every boss battle, you're fighting a Greek god. It's epic. It's so amazing. God of War 3, I actually restarted playing this game not too long ago, and still holds up amazingly. But the reason why the God of War franchise is number one on my list is because of God of War 2018. This is probably the best reestablishing of a franchise, basically remaking a video game franchise I can think of. Like God of War 1 through 3, and then the some of the spin-offs. Basically, they took everything that was great about that and perfected it in God of War 2018. They also made it so much more emotional. Kratos as a character in the first God of War games wasn't really that deep of a character, just kind of a badass who would kill basically anyone who got in his way. God of War humanized Kratos, and just this game made me cry on so many times. With his relationship with Atreus, his son, but also so many great throwbacks to the original games, especially with that Blades of Chaos moment. Holy shit, one of the best video game moments of all time. But this game is also so cinematic. Like if you ever play this game, notice how the camera never cuts to black. There's never a cut in this game. There's no there's load times, but they're not loading screens. You're still playing the game, basically. It's so cinematic. I love that. The score to this game is so great. God of War 2018 is my favorite video game of all time. And I'm so excited for God of War Ragnarok. It's got big shoes to fill, but I think they could do it. So God of War 2018, if you have not played this game, I honestly cannot recommend it enough. It's got an amazing story, amazing gameplay, beautiful graphics. This game is perfect. So yeah, comes in at number one. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please share down in the comments below some of your favorite video games of all time. If you want to put a top 10 list down there, please do. I always like and read and comment on my comments. I always look at them, so please share whatever your thoughts are. And yeah, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with people, and we'll see you guys next time on Tan's Top 10 channel.